Hello, fellow travelers. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey, and today we're looking at the chart of Elon Musk, which is 53 years old. So he's after his Chiron return. So he's manifesting generator, single definition, 3-5 profile, born on the right angle cross of service. So let's look at that. He's a pure manifesting generator with 3420. Which is interestingly defined by Saturn, the 20th gate on the second line, and by Neptune, the 34th, line 1 and line 3 in exaltation. And the other channel which makes him a generator is the 52-3 and 9-1 channel of concentration. And this is where his personality sun is, in the 52nd gate. So let's look at that. 52nd gate, the gate of keeping still mountain, the gate of stillness. And in the third line, it's called controls. External enforcement of inaction. The ability by its very nature to understand restraint with the potential in acceptance, to use the period to redefine strategies. The energy for acceptance in inaction. And the other side, a deep dissatisfaction with controls that disturb tranquility, leads to emotional withdrawal, and affects vision. The pressure of restraint disturbs tranquility. So Musk shines with his ability to keep still and to concentrate on the things he's working on. And as we know from him, that he likes his solidarity, to be alone, and he's a single definition, so he doesn't really need anybody to feel whole. And yet it's interesting that he has the ability to restrain himself in the potential acceptance and redefine strategies while being in inaction. And we know he disappears for days on end alone in his place of residence, keeping still mountain. So that's an interesting thing that we can see played out in his life. And yeah, he's very concentrated, and we can see it with all his businesses that he has follow through, being consistent through his trial and error process of the third line, and keeping on trying in a very concentrated way to get to those new things that he's coming up. And all of this in service of humanity, the cross of service. Or is it servicing his own interests? That's another way of looking at it. Then we have the 58 gate, third line in exaltation, called electricity, where is his earth, which is where he's grounding, he's founding his stability and balance. And it's the individual whose electric vitality creates its own stimulation and is not dependent on others, the energy to fuel independent stimulation. And we can really see that. He doesn't need anybody to stimulate himself. And, we're talking here about the gate of joyous, the gate of vitality, the 58 gate. And he finds joy in electrifyingly stimulating his own individual vitality and with independent stimulation, looking for what to improve. It is part of the stream of taste, and you can see he has almost the entire stream without the 16th gate. So he can be, it has to be to his taste, and that 5818, the channel of judgment, actually in its highest form, it's doing things to improve, finding what can be bettered for the good of humanity. It's a collective channel, part of the collective logic. So this is a very logical person who is seeing everything which doesn't work. Remember, he's a 3-5 profile. And then the gift of people who have third line in their profile is to, through trial and error process, find what doesn't work. Not what works, but what doesn't work. And eventually, after a lot of trial and error, maybe get to, by exclusion, like this doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. Maybe there is something here that works. So in very chaotic spheres, especially financial spheres or testing spheres, he can be doing very well, like testing software for mistakes or basically everything that he lays his hands on experience can be through this trial and error process, but can be actually testing what and finding out what doesn't work because he has tried it. And yeah, if we look at the 52nd gate, it's part of the civilization quarter. So purpose is fulfilled through putting things into form. And we can really see that he's putting things into form. It's not just some dreams, but he makes his dreams into a form, something that produces, like the cars and the rockets, and nonetheless, the children. He has 12 children. In the quarter of civilization, it's about form, and it's about bringing out the form in the material plane. So he's bringing out children in the material plane. He even joked that he will solve the world population problem with this. So we have a design of insatiability, the channel of judgment, 1858, which basically he's insatiable in improving things. And we can see he has no stopping, always looking out for betterment, for something new, for coming up with things which can be of service to the whole humanity. So he's very logical, and his son being in the 52nd gate. So he has two logical channels. The 952, which is also a format channel, the channel of concentration. It's design of determination. So those are collective logic channels. He's trying to come up with patterns which will better the future of humanity. And that's what he's doing, actually. Not only in words, but he's bringing that into form. And being in insatiability, not satisfied with it, but keep on going on, finding things which works to his taste, looking for patterns for the future, for the betterment of the entire humanity. And all of that garnished with the channel of charisma design where awareness must become deed. So we have here, he's a pure manifesting generator, which means he has the 3420 channel of charisma, and he can be very charismatic, as well as, since this is part of the integration channel, so it's self-empowerment, he self-empowers himself. And he's a freak. We can see he's very strange. He can act weird. And this can be thanks to this channel of charisma. Part of the integration channels, which also shows that he's self-empowered and he does not care. So those are two sides of him. On one side, he's this very logical person, in a concentrated way, being able to be still mountain, to stay still until he can act, and taming power of the small he has, so to be able to concentrate on small details for the betterment and of humanity, wanting more and more, dreaming for more, not satisfied with it, and able, all those thoughts that he has, all those dreams that he has, to directly put them into deeds with his manifesting potential. And what is typical for manifesting generators is that their gift is to be very efficient, to know what steps to skip, what steps to miss, that you don't have to go back to fix, so that you get very fast to results, to putting your words in action. Words which must become deeds. And especially the 3420, the pure manifesting generator, they can move like a fly without a head. Like they can be super busy, being busy with themselves, with their own stuff, self-empowering themselves. And in the meantime, when there is no guidance there to guide this energy, it can be a very chaotic doing machine, just doing. And those can become the perfect slaves. And as we know, he's a workaholic and can work 12 hours straight in a row, 100 hours per week, gets himself to exhaustion, and completely surrendering his energy to his businesses. So this channel can be a strength, but it also can be a risk for being a slave. And we can see that sometimes he's his own slave to his own businesses. What is interesting here is that the 34th gate is activated by Neptune. So this huge power is not really visible to himself. It is behind a veil. It is a huge potential, but there is a lot of illusion. And as Neptune is the god of the sea, when we look at water, things are always diluted. They're never straightforward. You don't really see the clear picture. It brings some form of illusion. And he has it in the first line, the bully, the indiscriminate use of power. The less negative, the resort to power as a manifestation of frustration, the energy to display power as a response to frustration. And oh boy, he displays power on so many occasions, especially when he gets angry. He just gets up, leaves the interview, doesn't pay lip service to anybody, just does his own thing, empowering himself, empowering his business. And he can be a bully at times. using his power in indiscriminate ways. And this under the veil of Neptune. So he doesn't even know how this is working. And he has it also in the third line, machismo. Again, the indiscriminate display of power. He has it very strongly in his design. The 34th gate coming twice. So here we have the great malefic, where machismo, unfortunately, is invariably backed up by power. This is an exaltation only in that it is natural and not contrived, the display of power that defines any role. And we can really see that he's undoubtedly a very powerful person, very busy, really doing, not only talking, but he really puts his words into action. Um, and really manifesting that power. The thing is, he's a generator. He's a manifesting generator, or a generator with a manifesting potential. What this means is that the aura is open and enveloping, and it's here to wait to be initiated by the world. In his case, being the cross of service, he might be initiated, and with his um, sun in the 52nd gate controls, he can be initiated by the world, by the needs of the world, to find a logical solution and be of service to the world for the problems of the world. So manifesting generators, they need to wait to be initiated by the outside world or by somebody else, by external force, to which they can respond. And then he's not emotional, and he has a defined spleen. So this response can be quite immediate. By the time he said it, he's already doing it. The thing is that with manifesting generators, unlike the pure generators, you have to start doing before you're sure you're really responding to what's being initiated out of you, what's being asked from you. So, but it can go so fast with him, with this defined spleen, that it can look almost like he initiates, and probably he does a lot of times, that he's not really responding and waiting to be initiated, but initiating himself. That's one of the traps for the manifesting generators, that they have this huge manifesting potential, that they can put so fast in action and not wait to respond, not wait to be initiated, but go towards things they want. And thus, those thoughts or words immediately can become action, immediately can be expressed out. As we know, the throat is a place for manifestation, outlet for expression, for metamorphosis, for communication. And sometimes we can really see in interviews how fast he answers, how fast he communicates and he manifests things. And because he has a defined spleen and he's a single definition that's all connected, so he has the intuition what is healthy for in the moment and for him, and he can very intuitively actually come up with things which are he has the intuition of whether things are healthy for him or whether there is some threat to him. But still, he often speaks without first considering, and really he can be pushed to communicate and to under the pressure of the emotional center. So he can super fast manifest and say things under emotional conditioning, when he's angry or excited or under other emotional stimulus that can push him to take decisions out of being nervous. Then, of course, he can try to prove himself with his open ego and giving too much promises, putting a strain on himself, really putting a lot of will. And we know that he puts a lot of will in all his projects, whether they're business or personal. He's showing a very willful presence. While we see in his chart that this is an undefined center. So here we have the possibility to feel unworthy and underevaluated and trying to prove himself. And indeed, we can see through his entire life that he's very competitive, um, trying to be first, trying to be very willful. He had a very tough childhood where his father had near military type of raising in a very um, strong and maybe sometimes harsh way. And we can see that it's possible that this has broken his already sense of not being worthy enough and being undervalued. So there is a lot of strain put on his will center, on the heart center, where he has only the 40th gate in his moon, personality moon, which is basically connected to his way of thinking, what he's focused on, his driving force. And it's in the third line, humility, a calculated mode in deliverance to avoid attracting the attention of negative forces. The subtlety to enjoy deliverance without having to flaunt it. The capacity of the ego to avoid negative forces, even if it means being alone. The ego arrogance that demands attention and gets it. The capacity of the ego to demand attention. And we really see that he can demand attention through trial and error process, saying things that really make other people angry, trying to prove himself, being emotional at times, giving himself to the emotions of the moment, and not really knowing um, where he's going. And he's trying to fix that. He's trying to have plans and ideas of exploring even out of space and finding new places. And it is very typical for the undefined G center to be looking for their role all their life, to be looking for their identity, for the direction they should be going. And he's jumping from one project to the other, trying one thing, another thing. Not here to be one thing, but to be a chameleon, to be different things, to find different jobs. And we can see those are from making cars and solar panels to making interstellar travels possible through AI technology, getting actually the X Twitter, and renaming it afterwards, which turned out that he's not actually, his intention was not buying a media and for the sake of free speech, but as the platform for the biggest or one of the biggest testing platforms for his AI project ideas. So he's doing all these things, and with the OpenG, he's going in different directions. And when you're in the right place with the right people, they are like your signposts. So you hear something which makes sense to you and it gives you direction. And maybe this is what It's happening that he's finding direction, maybe from different specialists around him, people which are around him, and going in those different ways and being a chameleon, changing around the people he's with. And we can also see that those are his nodes. His south and north node are in the G center. So here we have the south node, the Democrat. Interesting. He's supporting the Republicans. But here we have, in human design, we're looking at political systems in a different way, through the tribal system, but still it's a funny coincidence here. The second line, the Democrat, the ability to lead by serving the will of the majority. The application of universally accepted systems when connected through the alpha channel, and here we don't have that connection, the potential to widespread and revolutionary effect on society, the capacity of the self to lead when chosen. And the other side, elitism and the negation by Democrats of democracy, the capacity of the self once chosen to feel superior to those who chose them. And we can really see that he's in his younger life, he was in his perspective was that of elitism, being elite, being um, a leader as well, and doing new things, finding novice things. Then he has the 13th gate in second line, bigotry. The risk always present that fellowship can only exist for a particular type, whether racial, religious, national, or intellectual. Tolerance as the least offensive manifestation of bigotry, a role of openness through tolerance, and the other side, the obsessive belief that the highest ideals cannot be embraced by the lowest forms, an extremely difficult position where even the highest ideals provide rationalization for hatred, a role of openness so narrow that there is practically no one worth listening to. It is the gate of the listener, the 13th gate, the gate of fellowship of men, and he has in him this energy for actually being open to listen and to look at traditions, to pass on the history, and he's interested in the past, and being interested in the past, yet there can be bigotry here, shyness as well, and he overexposure of actually of two people who come to him to share things with him, and him knowing a lot of secrets. And by listening to so many bullshits around him, excuse me, or yeah, I should use another word, but where the highest ideals can make him tired and can make him rationalize hatred. And we can really see that he has some, let's say, racial point of views, or that could be considered politically incorrect. He's coming from South Africa, which is there is the apartheid and caste movement, so we can really see that play out in his perspective to the world. On the other side, the nodes are in the 49-5 organization, the 49, the gate of revolution, the gate of principles, And in the fifth line, organization, a concentration on the organization of power to clearly define authority, often at the expense of higher principles. A rejection of higher principles in seeking to organize others. So he can fight for his principles. He can say things which can sound like he's beheading you. It's, after all, the gate of the butcher. And in an undefined center, he can overly do it. And his Mars in his personality, which is the very expansive energy, which is not yet mature, it's immature energy, a lot of energy dynamics here. It's in the third line. Popular discontent, the ability to destroy antiquated forms once the restrictions have been removed, the potential insensitivity to reject failed principles or relationships, and Pluto in detriment with general support, a savageness in eliminating the old order that may permanently scar the new, insensitivity in rejection and rejecting. So he's can be very sensitive to being rejected and trying to start revolution and abandon the old to bring in the new. In the third line, it's very adaptable energy through trial and error process. And as I said, his Martian energy, which is big energy dynamics. But this is also his North Node. So this is where the environment where his life is going to take place, in a place where power clearly defines authority, and we can really see it also in the light of the last events and him being part of the close people next to President Trump, advisors in organization, and he has been put actually in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency, as being head of that department, because he's seen as and so he's in such environment, and actually right now, which is the second part of his life, so after 40, so we can really see that he's in this environment. South Node, this is before 40. Still there is some of course influence. It's the fourth gate, the youthful folly, the gate of formalization, the gate of giving answers. And here it's in the fifth line, seduction, allowing others to assume responsibility as a shield against potential punishment. Unearned reward and recognition, the potential to succeed through the understanding of others. A life of lip service to antiquated and unsatisfying values. Cynicism, the potential for cynicism that comes with always having to acknowledge the understanding of others. And this is interesting, as he's very cynical, and he's in a very cynical environment as well. Yeah, and with this undefined ajna and completely undefined head, which is actually his only center, which is completely undefined, is the head center. The inspiration, mental pressure, doubt, confusion, and questions, and thinking about things that don't matter, trying to answer everybody else's question, trying to find through concentrating on the needs of others. And with this channel 5818, it can really show him what can be improved, trying to organize things with his sun in the 17th gate. So we have here the gate of following, the gate of opinions. And in the fifth line, so that's his design sun, no human is an island. The recognition, however, understood that there is no end to hierarchies, the ultimate creative expression of interdependency, whether as God's will or global synthesis, opinions that can express the value of being organized, whether mundane or spiritual. And the other side, the arrogance, despite all the evidence to claim that the buck stops here, the possibility of opinions that refuse to see the value of being organized. And he has some strong opinions. With open ajna, he can try to be overly certain of his opinions, trying to give answers to everything. And he has the 24th gate as his design moon, the courage to admit the mistakes of the past in fifth line confession, the practical value of starting with a clean slate symbolized by the new moon, rational correction that opens the way to new possibilities. So here he has, that's the gate of returning, the 24th. He has returning thoughts, which can be quite putting him under a lot of pressure to think, to conceptualize, to find answers, to organize things in a way that makes sense to himself and his logic. And actually, we can look at the statistics of his chart, and he has, out of 22 activated gates, 11 are collective, and we can actually see that from those collective, quite a lot are part of the logic circuit. So he's a very logical person with two logical channels, the 952 and the 1858. A lot of logic here, trying to, also the seventh gate, trying to come up with, in a logical way, to organize things, come up with answers for the betterment of humanity, and going deep with all the details. He has, on one hand, the ninth gate, which is the power of the small, but on the other hand, he has also the 48 gate, which is the well, the gate of depth. So he has a lot of depth and a lot of details, and he thinks he doesn't have enough skills. So he's using his missing willpower, overstraining himself. Especially, he might have problems in the stomach, the 40th gate. With actually, it's yeah. He might have ulcers or gastritis, or just problems with digestion and stuff like that, because he's pushing his will to the maximum, thinking that he has to gain the skills. So whether things are to his taste or not, having the fear of authorities and the fear of that he has not enough depth, are moving him to prove and improve himself with the open ego, of course. So if we look at the 18th gate, we look, no human is an island. So he is in the fifth gate. There is a lot of projection towards him, expectations that he will be practical, he will come up with practical solutions, and he's very seductive with his body. He seduces apparently not only women, but also business people, investors, politicians, etc. Then he has the 18, his earth, so he's grounding himself, his stability and balance are in the line of therapy, the strength to recognize a problem and to accept that it is beyond one's power to solve it alone. and he has it in detriment the mental patient. Chronic instability and potential madness, where relationships cannot assist in correction, the potential of mental instability. And we really can see that he has sometimes his mm, unstable moments where he can even look mad. So, but don't forget that's in fifth line, so there is a lot of projection there that he might need therapy, or that he's mental and complete psycho. These are projections. It's not necessarily what's behind it. Here we have the Oedip uh, potential for the Oedip complex, Electra Oedip complex. So his mother, for sure, has people who have the 18th gate. They have fear of authority, but also they're very much conditioned by their parents and especially by the parent of the opposite sex. So here we have the mother and him being conditioned by the way she's treating her partners, how she was with the father, how she's was treating him. There is a lot of conditioning there. And as we know, he had difficult childhood, so this can be really projected and really can have influence on the way he takes things. And as we see, the 18th gate, it's in defined center, so he really finds grounding there. And also, actually, his Uranus, which is his unusualness, chaos, innovation, is in the sixth line, Buddhahood, the perfected form. So 18th gate, again, he has twice, so it's an important gate which influences a lot his design. It's the Buddha state of the eternal child and the energy to find new horizons to avoid stasis, the potential of the perfected form through correction. And the other side, the mundane application of the above, the ability to tap public opinion and share methodology, the potential to share the values of the correction with others. And we can really see that he's unusual in this way, can bring a lot of chaos. And he does look like a child. He has his whole demeanor is kind of um, okay, let's not call it child, but um, of a young person. He has very young looking face and demeanor. He's a little bit gives us the feeling of this teenager who is um, putting authorities under um, stress test, so to say, and yeah, to be, to look in a way, at life as a youngster, ready to explore, ready to be like a Buddha, be like in the eternal state of wonder and in the eternal state of search and investigation in a way. And this is the sixth line here. So we're talking about being the role model of what it is to actually stay with an open, childlike mind, the Buddhahood, and um, to find new horizons, to avoid stasis, not wanting to stop, but to always try to. It's insatiability. It's always you're not satisfied. You continue. And with being a generator, where satisfaction is primordial, it's the signature of the generator. Having this channel and living it from the not self mind, where you're turning this against yourself, you're putting yourself under a lot of pressure, a lot of judgment, a lot of insatiability about perfection, being a perfectionist and never enough, never good enough. So this can be quite a turmoil when turned upon yourself, when turned towards yourself, being really judgmental. But as we see, he's actually maybe bringing this channel to the other level where there is this possibility for the greater good of humanity, servicing humanity and correcting the patterns so as to have a better future. Not wasting your energy on correcting, the uh, imperfections on the tablecloth. It's about something bigger, much bigger. And with this universalizing force in his design, with the fifth line, he has actually a lot of fifth lines. He has one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, six lines. We can actually look at the statistics. So even seven fifth lines. So there is a lot of projection going on here that he's the superhuman, the superman. Having only one fourth line, by the way. So friendship, and it's in the 14th gate, about security and about this power to empower the direction. So he might have the power and the resources and the money, but not always the direction. He has an undefined G, missing second gate, not knowing where to invest all this energy, what is the right direction, um, wandering around what's the right direction. It's the concentration on establishing a strong foundation, but not necessarily the direction, not how to do it. Protection from assault. The key to power lies in developing skills to ensure a strong foundation, or overconfidence in meeting the challenge of competition that may threaten the very basis of security. Without the proper skills, the inability to guarantee security. So he wants so much security, and in an opportunistic way, it's in the fourth line. And that's his law and protection, Uranus, uh, trying to get to a strong foundation that he can afterwards influence others, waiting for the opportunities which he can find through his network and friends. So he's so much dependent, especially with this open G, on the people around him. It's crucial, super important for him, the place. If he's on the right place, he's with the right people. What does the right place mean? It means that he feels good there and he can be himself. So it is essential, and that's what he says after changing a lot of high-end properties. At the end, he bought um, house which is mm, self. It's a small house. Um, those self-assembling houses that you just open up. And he says that with this minimalistic style, he feels so much better. But he's so dependent on people around him because they give him the direction. They carry the direction. So if he's on the right place, he'll be meeting the right people, and if he's in the wrong place, he'll be meeting the wrong people, which give him wrong signs of direction, of the right direction. And also about the G center, I wanted to say here, it's about love as well. And you're here to be loved, right? To, um, excuse me, excuse me for the interruption. To be loved, and that he reflects that love. And we can really see he's searching for that love with his 12 marriages, going from one to the other, looking for the right love, for the right person to be loved by. um, and this can take away from his energy, trying to find his direction, trying to find the right love, trying to find the right identity. Yeah. And on the other side, he has this 42nd gate, which is the gate of increase, the gate of growth. And oh boy, he's growing. But through trial and error. So he grows, then he loses, then he grows again. And it's about finishing things, finishing project. It's in the sixth line, nurturing, a natural and instinctive nurturing of others, the power to share the process of growth with others. And he does share it with his employees. Not all the time, but especially with people who give him direction. A restrictive and malefic materialism that is self-alienating and encourages aggression, the refusal to share benefits of growth with others. So sometimes he wants to share the benefits with others, and sometimes he has lack of wish to share the benefits of growth with others. But as we see, he has a lot of aggression, machismo, and the bully in his design. It's a lot of power, untamed power, I could say. Um, yeah, so here it's in the sixth line. By the way, he has also a lot of sixth lines, which is looking for being idealistic in those places. So he wants to communicate here. His communication and thinking is about finishing things, about bringing them to fruition, bringing them um, to growth and the absence of stasis, the absence of no movement. There has to be movement, growth, and in a very concentrated way, of course. And this is what he's communicating. And on the other side, his other Mercury, which is also about communication and thinking, and here it's on the personality side, so it's conscious in him, is gate 39, which is the gate of provocation for finding the right spirit. In the fifth line, single-mindedness, the rare ability not to overcome but to bypass obstacles, the imagination to establish new patterns that make the obstacles irrelevant, the imaginative energy to provoke through bypassing obstacles, and the other side, simple hard-headedness. Isn't it true? Though less exalted, it can often result in success and gather support by its very determination, the energy to provoke through hard-headedness. And we can really see that Elon can be very stubborn, can be very provocative. He has both the 38 and the 39, and the 38 is in his Mars. Qualification, tempering opposition based on circumstances. So this is part of the cross of tension, the 38 and 39 gate. So he can bring a lot of tension around him. He can provoke people and mm, be in opposition and fight with them. He's not scared of fighting them. It's in a defined center. So he can put a lot of adrenaline energy in that. And do it in a very concentrated way, super fast. The moment he thought that those words can come out and be really provocative, you can really see that. Um, and then mm, we can look at his Venus. It's interesting in the 45th gate, which is the gate of gathering together, the gate of the gatherer, or we can say the gate of the queen king. So this person cannot have a boss. They really have to be their own boss, and we can really see it. It's in the third line, exclusion here. The ability, when excluded, to take whatever measures are necessary to dissolve the antiquated form and to accept even humiliation to achieve inclusion. The instinct to find a way to be included in the material process. And the other side, an aggressive, and this is probably the fifth or the sixth time we meet this word, aggressive, and often violent reaction to exclusion, the expression of frustration when not included in a material process. So if something can get Elon angry, and these are really his moral values and aesthetics, is about exclusion and in a trial and error process of finding the material way. Um, 45 is part of the 2145, the genre of materialism. So Elon can be very materialistic, and we can really see that. Um, and those are his moral values, guys. So it's about owning and educating through a trial and error process, through being successful on the material plane. Third line, being adaptable. On the other side, we have the 30th gate in line 6. So this is part of the channel of the fates, and it is the gate of clinging fire, the gate of feelings. And it can explode, those feelings can explode while he's dreaming about new feelings, which will um, start new stories, new experiences. It's in the sixth line, enforcement, the discipline to maintain right action, the assertiveness to purge the inferior while accepting to lead the weak, the strength to eliminate negative feelings. And the other side, an inherent peacefulness that all too often will abide the presence of inferior forces, a lack of strength in eliminating negative feelings. So, and it's in an open center, so this means he can completely overdo it, either with eliminating negative feelings and totally not thinking about that. We know that he takes sometimes quite some strong drugs like ketamine. We don't know how true that is, but ketamine, this is a very highly effective uh, anesthetic used with animals. So he can really overdo it with trying to eliminate negative feelings through all kinds of different sources and ways, or lacking the strength of eliminating the negative feelings and indeed using other means to do it. And this is his other moral values and aesthetics. Enforcement, another strong word. We saw a lot of enforcement, aggressiveness, power, and we can really see it expressed in that person. We already looked at the 49 gate with this, but we didn't look at the third line. So he has it twice in his notes. Here it was organization, and here we have popular discontent, the ability to destroy antiquated forms. Yeah, actually, we did go through that. And being this his Martian energy, that can be quite a force. On the other side, the 38 line 1 qualification, his other Martian energy, which is immature energy with quite a force. We already mentioned that he can be quite provocative. And here in the first line, qualification, tempering opposition based on the circumstances, the tendency to oppose as a general rule, the drive to fight as a general rule. And we can really see it. He's always ready for a fight, risking it all. This is harmonic to the 28th gate, the gate of the game player. So this is putting under adrenalized energy, trying to get to the game player. Of course, he thinks he doesn't risk enough, or he risks too much, but because he thinks that he's missing the 28th gate. the game player. Yet there is this tempered opposition, and especially under the influence of the undefined emotional center, this can really, um, yeah, it can backfire, it can explode. Um, yeah, so we have his Uranus in the ninth gate, law and protection, where he has to keep certain positions, rules, so to say. Um, in the ninth gate, taming power of the small, the gate of the focus, first line sensibility, a balanced and responsible approach to problem solving, the ability to avoid frustration through the creation of new forms, the power in focusing to create new forms. Or the other side, after a hasty and frustrating research, the urge to kick in the door when the key is in your pocket, the power to generate that will lose its focus. And we can really see that he's an innovator. He comes with new things, new forms. The power of focusing to create those new forms is so strong in him. And on the other hand, he can be hasty, he can be frustrated. Um, I really can imagine him when he didn't find a solution to something that he goes and kicks in anger, what's around him, being frustrated that it's not happening. And maybe a lot of times he had the solution in the pocket, the key in the pocket, super close to you, but you're so concentrated on finding those new forms that you don't even see that you have that the solution was under your nose the whole time. And those are his laws. Mm, and when he does not follow his laws in order to be concentrated, to mm, focus on coming out with those new forms. And on the other side, we already looked at Jupiter in the 14th gate security for establishing the strong foundation. So when he's not following this, establishing a strong foundation, uh, confidence with challenges of competition and being concentrated, then he's being punished. And he's punished by Saturn in the 23rd and the 20th gate. So let's first look at the 20th gate, part of his definition, part of the channel of charisma, and it's called contemplation, the gate of direction of the now. It's the potential of being awake in the now. He has it in the second line, the dogmatist, restrictive and intentionally limited understanding. The limitation, if personal and exclusive, is less negative through ascetic withdrawal, a restrictive awareness of the now. And we really can, we heard so many times of him um, withdrawing, uh, living in asceticism. And the other side, the power to lead others down a narrow path, the gift through expression of leading others down a narrow and restrictive path. We also saw that. He took the path, okay, we want to have solar powered cars, and this is a very narrow path where he brings his group of people. Actually, through self empowerment, being leader through self empowerment. Um, it's actually the second line, so it's not leadership line, it's actually a shy line where you need your boundaries to be brought down by somebody else and that you're called out. Uh, it's a generative channel, so it's about responding as well as with the 952. It's all about responding for Elon, except for the 5818, which is a projector channel. So here, in order for him to bring this judgment and betterment, he needs invitation. And not that he goes and directly starts, bettering things and judging things and giving comments and um, being very picky and unsatisfied. But here in the 20th gate, he's being punished by dogmatism. And we can really see that he can be quite dogmatic about and old-fashioned about some. He's such an interesting combination of old-fashioned and new in a way. And it's everywhere in his design. You can see it. Um, by withdrawal, he has the 40th gate of aloneness. Here it talks about the dogmatism and through ascetic withdrawal. It's in his design to withdraw, to be with himself. Also, he's a right angle profile, the 3-5. So it's a personal destiny. It's about himself, his own destiny, his own trip through this life to accomplish his life purpose. And here, uh, he's being punished when he doesn't follow his law of being concentrated and um, uh, establishing a strong foundation, waiting for the right opportunities. On the other side, he has Saturn in 23rd gate, line 2. This is the gate of splitting apart, the gate of assimilation. It's basically what kind of connects the freaks to the society so that everybody is included. And here it's in the second line, self-defense, the need to abandon tolerance when survival is threatened. The principle of preservation at its most acute, the abandonment of tolerance when individual expression is threatened. And we can really see it, how he can be so intolerant when he cannot individually express his ideas and breakthroughs. Where Jupiter will strike out to preserve its integrity, the moon is often satisfied with just protecting itself by fending off hostility, the defense of individual expression in the face of hostility. And this is the other place that he's being punished in how he expresses, how he's able to self-defense, and how he can abandon tolerance when survival is really threatened. That's where he's being punished. We already looked at the 18.6, the Buddhahood, and this is his Uranus, and we already also, no, we didn't look at the 48, line 3. Again, Uranus, the unusualness, chaos, innovation, it's in the third line, incommunicado, symbolized by the no moon phase where the potential of light is unrecognized, unavailable, and unknowable. The redeeming value is in the transience of such a stage, which can give strength to those so affected, where the development of taste and depth is a long-term process. The profound anxiety when a profound intelligence is forgotten in the wilderness. The tendency in a long-term process, development of taste and depth to anxiety. And fear that there is not enough depth through trial and error. Incommunicado, communication, no communication. Again, we have here no moon phase, where the potential of light is unrecognized. The potential of knowing those details, going deep into things, can be sometimes unrecognized. And it's in the third line, adaptation, through making mistakes, to find what depths don't work. Then we already looked at the two Neptunes and in Machismo and the Bully. And then we come to a very interesting gate, the sixth gate, the gate of conflict, the gate of friction. And this is also, let's not forget, that's the gate which is where all the emotional gates, all the emotional waves, excuse me, actually are created. This is where they're birthed from. So the sixth gate contains all of them. And this friction, this conflict possibility, and we see it's defined 2 times in him. It's his truth is actually to get into friction, That's where the truth comes out for him. And it's in the sixth line, the peacemaker, the discipline and integrity of a superior force to unilaterally cease conflict to permit surrender and survival of its foe. The highest form of reason is that life is sacred, the emotional power to end conflict tempered by feelings and sensitivity to others. And the other side, the peacemaker whose actions are just, but whose terms are unacceptable. The emotional power to end conflict, but only after one's conditions have been satisfied. And we saw it several times with the way he treated users of X. When it served his truths and his conditions have been satisfied, he's able to put end to the conflict and end to the friction. And when they're not, and that's his truth, it's not about that. It's he will be in conflict. And then the fifth line, the line of arbitration. The faith derived from analytical diligence and emotional control that permits a higher authority to judge a conflict. Harmony further through the avoidance of direct conflict. Sensitivity to conflict can lead to the avoidance of intimacy. And on the other hand, he has where a party to arbitration sees itself as the best possible judge and will only accept judgment if it's the victor. Insensitivity to the concerns of others in a conflict. So he will only accept judgment if it's in his favor, if he's the victorious one, and that's his truth. So there is a lot of conflict and friction, and it's an open, undefined, actually, emotional center. So he can completely overdo it, and he has also the 49th two times, third and fifth line, the 30th gaze. So he can be quite emotional, and then he can completely overdo it, exaggerate, and bend, um, just distort what's coming at him, and to overcompensate here, to completely overdo it, to mm, yeah, to um, overshoot and yeah, and being over emotional, taking emotional decisions, which is totally not correct for him. Mm, so, as a pure manifesting generator with the defined spleen, he can be impulsive, he can be spontaneous, act very fast, and miss the fact that he is not here to initiate and to get into a manifester mode. And when he's not on the right track, not only he can get super frustrated, he can get also super angry. And we all seen him get angry and frustrated at the same time, and this huge power in showing it in aggressive ways, um, not being afraid to use his power, machismo, bullying, and yeah, those words, they were those keywords that Iraq came with. They can be quite shocking and dramatic, but we can really see that in Elon's case. It's we can see it. We can see those traits. Um, we can see the chaos that can happen when he's under emotional influence. We can see how super competitive he can be, over-promising things, um, straining his willpower, completely exhausting himself, trying new things, new partners, new projects, not knowing exactly what is the right place. He has the power, um, not knowing, so he can put the pedal to the metal without knowing which direction it should be this power and resources invested in. What is the right way um, to do it? Constantly looking in the back mirror, trying to outguess the future, so the past and the future here. Mm, and not knowing what to concentrate and conceptualize on. What are the correct answers? Are there correct answers? Are there answers at all? The 24th gate part of the channel 6124. It's about it's a mystical channel. It's about finding out things which are unknowable or mystical. And we can really see that he's interested in mystical things. At the same time, trying to organize it to his own understanding so it fits his picture of the world, but overcompensating with pretending to be certain and trying to convince everybody that he's certain, not knowing what to think about, trying to answer, as I said, everybody's questions. So those are the underwater stones that can kind of be on the way of his living out his purpose of being of service to others in order to achieve his personal destiny and satisfaction and avoid frustration and anger. It's an interesting design. We can see nobody can really escape from their design and their purpose. And with him, purpose is fulfilled through form. He is bringing new forms. And in in a way for betterment of the entire humanity, if used correctly, this energy in response rather than initiating, which can bring a lot of trouble with how fast this person is. But he is in tune with the new times. We know that the sleeping phoenix is coming after 2027, which is the change of the background frequency, and it has this channel 3420 in it. So this person is quite aligned for the future times to bring us to the other side. And also he's a 3-5 profile, so his third line will be harmonic to the sixth line in which we're entering in the cross of the sleeping phoenix. He's in tune and harmony with the coming times. Bringing out something new in a very concentrated way, being busy, sometimes throwing his energy just like that, just for being busy, trying to improve and better things by fighting for them, going into depth, going through conflict if necessary, standing behind his principles or abandoning him, trying to educate mm, people on the new and improved, bringing out his breakthroughs in a empowering way, hopefully, and being busy with his purpose or not. I'll leave that for you to decide whether he's living out his purpose or not. Although we're just observers, and the only person who knows whether they are living out themselves and their authenticity, it's yourself. Nobody can look through your own eyes. So we can look at the map, but the map is not the territory. The body graph is just a graph of all the energetic potentials and traps, eventual traps. Yet the territory is something that only that person knows about themselves. I wonder how he experiences this design, and I would be glad if you would like to share your perspective and whether this mm, short analysis of the chart resonated with you, whether you saw where part of the things that he's doing and the way he's showing himself in the world can really be seen in his design. If you have any thoughts, I would love to hear it. If you find this video interesting, please like and share with your friends. Subscribe to my channel for more interesting videos, or find me on my other social platforms, humandesignjourney.com, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok with the same name. And yeah, give a thumbs up. And eventually I'll be back with more. So bye for now.